If I could open this video by falling face first onto my duvet again, I would, but the bunk bed doesn't allow for head clearance. So, yesterday was the wedding day. What happened yesterday was what I primarily flew out to New Zealand for. And it was a wonderful, wonderful day. I am exceedingly grateful for Tabby for inviting me out to her special day, because it means a huge amount to me to be invited, because she was a really dear friend at secondary school, and we just kind of lost contact since she emigrated out. But I saw her when I came out for my internship, and indeed I saw her in 2012 when she came back to the UK for a short spell. But it had been a long time since I'd seen her and her family, so when I did receive the invite in the post, I was very, very touched. Yeah, but yesterday was the end result of about a week's worth of jet lag and far too many hours in the air. A little bit of a late start of the day. I woke up relatively early, went down and enjoyed a breakfast at the Dwellington, which was amazing. And I got nattering to some of the other visitors and some of the other guests here at the Dwellington. I'd actually got nattering to a few English lads who were discussing the football. And of course, it was the England game last night. And they were there going, "Come join us. Yeah, by the time you get back from your wedding at 12 midnight-ish, you'll be raring for the football." So I spent the day kind of umming and ahhing about it. But the morning was spent mostly contacting a handful of people in one of the bridal parties, asking how things were going, asking about logistics, and comparing and contrasting wardrobe choices as well. I left the Dwellington in what I thought was plenty of time to meet Jenna, one of Tabby's flatmates, and who was going to be sharing a lift with me, until I realised I'd actually forgotten my earrings, so that involved a quick sprint back, grabbing those, and then running back to the agreed meeting place to find them waiting, which was a little bit embarrassing. But we got down to where the coaches were meeting in good time, and actually we were far from the last people. I think the last people were actually Tabby's brother and his +1. So that was a little bit of a giggle for everybody. As we headed off, there was a slight concern because the weather wasn't exactly being kind. It was windy as all get out, to the point where I had planned to have my hair down, and after 2 minutes of having the hair stuck to the lippy, the hair sticks went in just to hold it back and hold it in some degree of control. And also, the mizzle had started. I was met at the coach spot by Hannah and Nick. Now, well before the wedding, Emma had put me in contact with a few of her friends who were going to be travelling alone, who were all New Zealanders or expats, but were heading down there on their own. And a large group of the singles got collected and deposited gently onto the same table at the wedding feast. So Hannah and I had been swapping messages over the course of the morning, her agonising over what exactly she was going to wear, because it's very, very easy to overdress for a New Zealand wedding, trust me. But everyone looked lovely, and me lamenting over the fact that my skin had chosen today to have a breakout. But I was welcomed with a warm hug and shepherded onto the coach by Hannah, and we had a little bit of a natter, but admittedly it did devolve into watching the scenery go by, which was rather gorgeous. And I saw my first New Zealand sheep of this holiday. I think it's a little bit ridiculous that I saw a kiwi bird before I saw a sheep. I think I might be an exception to the rule, that might be a bit of an anomaly. But we did see something rather incredible on the way to Boom Rock, which is where the wedding was being held. Now, the day before, Tabby had actually told me that there was a whale in the harbour. Wellington Harbour was playing shelter to a southern right whale. Apparently reports coming in that it's a female, and she's chosen the area because it's nice and sheltered, and people suspect that she may be expecting, so she might be looking for somewhere sheltered and calm to calve in the near future, which has been fantastic because she's been very, very visible. They were meant to be having a fireworks display yesterday evening to celebrate the end of the Maori New Year, but it got cancelled to prevent her from getting distressed and potentially leaving. And also the weather was so rancid last night, probably wouldn't have gone ahead anyway. But as we were driving along the motorway, suddenly there was all this flurry of excitement down one side of the coach, and all the heads turned, and she was there. She was right by the surface. She'd come up for air. There was a little bit of a fluke. There was a little bit of a pectoral fin as she went down again. And it was lovely. It was quite great because everyone's immediately started social mediaing, just seen the whale in the harbour. But it was brilliant because I was sat there thinking, wow, Tabs, your union has been blessed by the old gods. Well done there. But we got up to Boone Rock. I'd looked at some of the photographs of the area and of the venue online, and it looked beautiful. Right up on the cliffs overlooking the Tasman Sea, gorgeous, windswept areas. I got a lot of, quite a big Norse feeling. It felt very Norse. And the fact that the entertainment that they can lay on includes dagger and axe throwing, I thought, yeah, pretty flippin' Asgardian to me. But we got up there and the wind was howling. And when you did look out to sea, you were there going, right, I can't see where the water stops and the sky starts. It's a little bit, it was just grey. But it was very, very atmospheric, very, very atmospheric. But bless them, that did mean the staff had to kind of work around us a little bit because there was nowhere to shuffle us to because of the weather. With the bad weather, the ceremony and the feast were now taking place in the same room, so tables had to be very, very carefully shuffled to the side to make as much room for people standing in the room as possible. But it was a case of the staff were having to very, very gently nudge us to one end of the room or back to the other so they could work around us, but they were a fantastic team. Everyone was plied with a drink when we first arrived. It was an open bar for beers and wine, but me being the Brit and fresh off the boat, of course, I went straight for the cup of tea. Admittedly, 1, slightly cold, 2, still tired. I didn't think it would take me this long to get over the jet lag, but I suppose with my travel time it was a case of jet lag plus sleep deprivation. So of course everyone was there with various wines and beers, and I'm there with the poor cylinders going, yeah, don't mind me, I'm all good. But I was playing into the stereotype a little bit, but it was always fun. But eventually one of the brides arrived, Emma. Now Emma I haven't actually ever met. I've seen a photograph of, and there was a little bit of conversation over Facebook when she very kindly sort of shepherded me towards her group of friends. But I've never actually met her. But she came in looking absolutely lovely in a very simple sort of white satinish dress with red detailing, and she went and stood at the top of the aisle, which we were kind of making out people, but she was up there with her bridesman, her brother and some of her good friends, and stood there sort of nattering to the officiator. Then the word went out, the other bride is arriving, and we all took our places, or shuffled back, and the music started to play. I love Tabby. I love one of my favourite nerds. She is one of my favourite nerds. And it was a case of the officiator just giving a little bit of housekeeping rules, please turn your phones off. You can take photographs, but we'd rather you be here with us in the moment rather than watching it through your screens. And also finished with, and we'd just like students to know that the third corridor on the right hand side is out of bounds to anyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. And I was just stood there going, yes, yes you nerd, I love you. And at that point I was there going, right, if I know Tabby, the music is going to be something a little special right here. I'm putting my money on Hedwig's theme. And I was right. So down the aisle she came to Hedwig's theme on her father's arm, and she again looked absolutely lovely. Very, very simple lacy white dress. And the pair of them stood at the top of the aisle in front of a roaring log fire looking absolutely adorable. It was kind of sickening. They were so cute. Ugh. Ugh. People in love. Ugh. So, ugh. The ceremony was really, really sweet, and it was very, very personal and exceedingly sweet without being overly saccharine. I think it helped to the fact that they were giggling. There was a lot of giggling happening. And the bridesmaids and the bridesmen were sort of playing up to the audience a little bit. And clearly the officiator knew them and cared a lot about them as well, because there was a little bit of nudging when it came to different people's roles. And when she did speak about them, it was obvious that she really, really cared for them and she knew them as well. But again, it was a bit strange because this is the second wedding this year that I've been invited to and I've attended where we weren't required to sing. Audience participation has always been a thing when I've attended funerals and weddings. It's always been a thing. just invited to sit back and enjoy. Their vows were personalised as well, and again, sickeningly cute. Just, ugh, so cute. So disgustingly cute. But they were declared wife and invited to start their new lives together. And they headed off back down the aisle, again to nerdy music. This time it was Star Wars. And you had half of the people in the congregation, including myself, doing their best Wookiee impressions. Then came time for the photos. We were invited to sit down to dinner a little bit later, and it was a lovely meal. You had two options, chicken or beef, and for a change I went for the beef, and it was actually really, really nice. So blue that if I'd had 2 nodes and a working battery, I'm fairly certain I could get it living again. And after the day came dancing. They had a very, very cute first dance, the pair of them. We had spoken to them earlier, and I did say, so are you going to dance, are you dancing proper dancing, or are you just going to stand there and sway? And Tabby confirmed, nope, standing there and swaying. But apparently Emma does have a bit of a background in dance, so she said, yeah, I'm probably going to be towed around the dance floor by her. But they were very, very sweet, and people eventually joined them. Now, I forgot to mention, during dinner I actually did get introduced to the other bride eventually. And it was very, very strange, because I'd gone up to go and get myself another glass of water. Again, I wasn't drinking. But I'd gone up to go and get myself a glass of water, and I'd caught Emma's eye as I was up at the bar. And she was giving me this look. It wasn't a frown, it wasn't the evils, but she was giving me this look, and pretty much it was a case of, I don't recognise you. Who are you? And she, for about 30 seconds, she was giving me a very, very intense stare, just kind of, I don't know this one. Gradually made my way over and introduced myself, at which point I got a beaming smile and a good firm handshake and a very, very heartfelt welcome. And she did confess she'd been clocking me, going, I don't, young female, don't know this one. But the revelry started, and it continued long into the night. The coach was booked for 11 o'clock. Between about 8:30 and 11, there was a lot of dancing, a lot of cake, a lot of tea. But Kate, I think you do need to work on that app, because we had exactly the same problem as Henry and Claire had. Now, it was a bit unexpected because Ollie, as far as I can tell, he's kind of an MC for a living, so I thought he would have been on top of that, but we have about 20 seconds of a song and someone will change it. It was worse than me in the car with my iPod. And there was a few incidences where but eventually the evening came to a close and we all hopped back on the coach and headed back into town. Now, there were various things for after the party. There was an after party which Ollie was orchestrating, but I have to confess I headed back to the Dwellington because I might have fallen asleep on the coach on the way back. And I got back at about 12:30, and I walked into a bit of a ruckus because a lot of people were doing their best to stay awake and stay as rowdy as they possibly can to await the football at 2 in the morning. Part of me was there going, I can stay up to 2. A larger part of me was there going, no Pippa, no, go to sleep. But it didn't matter anyway because I got woken up each time England scored a goal anyway. But yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And there was a ping whilst I was recording this, which I think was Tabby confirming a bit of a meet-up time a little bit later. So hopefully I'll get to see them a little bit later today. But at the moment the weather is vile. So I've got to try and work out what I'm doing for my day. Hope you're all well. And it's typical because I was just about getting over the jet lag. And then I had about 4 hours sleep last night. I will unbreak at some point, but I don't think it's going to be today. Signing out.